Good morning, children. Children, today I am going to take social for ninth class, lesson number 13. Industrialization and social change. So, about the transportation, the first steam locomotive, Stephenson's rocket, was made in 1814 CE. Railways was the new means of transportation that was available throughout the year. It was both cheap and fast, and it could carry passengers and goods. They combined two inventions. The iron track replaced the wooden track in the 1960s, and the power of the steam engine. The invention of railways took the process of industrialization to its second stage. The first railway line connected the cities of Stockton and Darlington in 1825, a distance of 9 miles that was completed in 2 hours at the speed up of 5 mph. The next railway line connected Liverpool and Manchester in 1830. Within 20 years, train had started moving at the speed of 30 to 50 miles an hour, mph, miles per hour. In the 1830s, the use of canals revealed several problems. Too many large ships made the movement on canals slow. Another problem was if there was frost, flood or drought in the canal, the ships would not use it. So next, Industrial Revolution also gave birth to a peculiar system of production. We saw that factories were set up using machines which were worked by laborers who were hurried by the factory owners. They also brought raw materials from distant places and sold their produce in distant markets. Through this process, they earned profits. However, at any time, there are many factory owners. Each of them tries to sell maximum to earn maximum profit. To attract more customers, they try to sell the product cheaper than others. Thus, they compete with each others in the market in order to keep the price low. They cut costs by rationally using all the raw materials, machines and workers, and also by using new technologies or machines which can produce more at less cost. The use of new machines enables the factory owners to produce more by employing fewer workers, and thus cuts down the cost and also helps in improving the quality of the product. So in this period, it was possible for talented individuals to bring revolutionary changes in science and technology. Similarly, there were many rich individuals who took risk and invested money in industries in the hope of making profit and multiplying their wealth in most cases. This money capital did multiply. Wealth increased dramatically in the form of goods, income, service, and knowledge, and productive efficiency. At the same time, there was a massive negative human cost. Families were breaking down, life in the cities was degrading, and people had to work under horrible working conditions in factories. In 1750 CE, there were just two cities with a population of over 50,000 in England. But by 1850, the CE, there were 29 such cities. So a survey in 1842 CE revealed that the average lifespan of workers was lower than that of any other special group in cities. It was 15 years in Birmingham, 17 in Manchester, 21 in Derby. In the new industrial cities, people died at a younger age than in the villages. Deaths were primarily caused by epidemic of disease like cholera and typhoid and spread from the population of water, or tuberculosis from the pollution of air. So the Industrial Revolution brought many important changes in the way children and women worked. In the rural areas, children usually worked at home or in the farm under the watchful eye of parents or relatives. So they did jobs that changed during the day or between seasons. Women and children were employed in large number in the cotton textile industries in Lancashire and Yorkshire. Women were also the main workers in the silk, lace making and knitting industries, as well as along with children in the metal industries of Birmingham. Machinery like the cotton spinning jenny was designed to be used by child workers with their small fingers and bodies. Children worked in textile factories because they were small enough to move between tightly packed machineries. The long hours of work, including cleaning and machines on Sundays, allowed them no fresh air or exercise. So coal mines were also dangerous places to work in. Roofs caved in or there could be no explosion, and injuries were common. The owners of coal mines used children to reach deep coal faces where the path was too narrow for adults. Younger children worked as trappers who opened and shut doors as the coal wagons traveled through mines, or carried heavy loads of coal on their backs or coal barrels. While industrialization began early in England in the 18th century, it was not until 1850 and the 1870s the industrial production became prominent in Germany and France. As you may remember, Germany was not until united till 1870, and France was facing wars and revolutions. Unlike Britain, which had extensive colony, Germany and France did not have colonies and access to colonial resources. Thus, they had make up for these disadvantages. So, the German government encouraged industrialization in Germany by providing a large market for its industries, building roads and railways and developing mines. The German army required large quantities of arms and ammunition. So many leading industries focused on the eminent industry. The government also controlled working class movement and provided many social benefits and insurance for the workers. This enabled the factory owners to control their workers and pay less. German industry also benefited from the technical development achieved by Britain and USA. They borrowed the new technology which other countries had developed over a long time. For this, they needed heavy capital investment, which they received from a large banks. Thus, German industries developed as large units and were bigger than British industries in size and scope. The Karuku family established what was going to become the world's largest arm factory. This first factory specialized in field gun manufactures, and by 1887 it supplied arms to 46 different countries. During World War I, the Karuku factories made guns for German artillery. The Karukus formed Hitler in the German general election of 1933. As Nazi Germany occupied neighboring countries, Alfred Karku seized new land to make more factories Many of these factories used slave labor from the Nazi concentration camps. So German industry initially had competition with the Britain in many key sectors like cotton textiles, machine buildings. So however, soon Germany developed iron and steel, chemical and electrical industries, which were now generation industries, and overtook Britain in these areas. By the beginning of 20th century, Germany had developed a powerful industrial base. It was challenging Britain as Europe's major industrial power. Britain was still producing more coal, but Germany was producing more steel. What was worrying from Britain and France was that a great proportion of this industrial production was used to build up Germany's military and naval power. France, in contrast, was slow in industrialization even by the end of 19th century. France remained a rural country with a large majority of people cultivating small plots of land. Manufacturers found it more profitable to give out work to rural workers who worked at home rather than to set up factories in town. Such real domestic production began to decline after 1850 CE, resulting in economic adversity for the people. Machines in towns began to do most of the work, and only dedicated hard work was given out to rural workers. French industrialization was also a result of the spread of railway and road networks after 1860 CE, which created a wide market for its industrial goods. France also did not develop banks which could mobilize large amount of capital and lend them to industrialists. As a result, most of French manufacturers depended upon family resource. They remained smaller companies as a result. It also made them slow in adopting new ideas and technologies. Heavy industries based on iron and coal also developed very slowly in France, as it did not have good reserves of coal. France had to depend upon expensive imports for coal. Thus, French industrialization remained focused on consumer products like textiles, which were basically small-scale enterprises. This was in contrast to the German and British industrialized situation, where heavy industries predominated. So children, you will have to read the lesson completely, and then you will have to answer the question answers. So in this chapter we have covered the England Glorious Revolution, American Independence 1974 to 89, and American Independence, French Revolution, a growing middle class, an end to privileges, the tennis court oath, France become a constitutional monarchy, the Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizen, the Legion of Terror, Women and French Revolution, A directory rules France. Unification of Germany and Italy. Like democratic and nationalist revolutions, that is glorious or bloodless revolution, England. American War of Independence 1974 to 1789, 1774 to 1789. French Revolution from 1789. And the autocratic monarchy, French Revolution, Napoleon's entry. Revolutions, Europe. So important years and events, let me read. So 1603 event, James I, a Stuart dynasty became the king of the England. In 1625 to 1640, 1660, Charles I succeeded James I, long parliament. In 1649, Charles I was defeated and executed and exclaimed, become republic. 1688, William of Orange and his wife Mary, granddaughter of Charles I, were invited by the Parliament to occupy the throne of England. 1974, the American colonies agitated against England and raised the slogan, no taxation without representation. 1774, Louis XVI ascended the throne of Europe, France. 1781, the Americans won the War of Independence with the military assistance of France. 1783, Treaty of Paris. 1789, the national government of United States of America adopted a republican constitution. 1789, Louis XVI called an assembly of the Estates General in Versailles. 1791, the National Assembly of France completed the draft of the Constitution. 1791, the Constitution reduced women to passive citizens. 1792, the National Assembly of France voted to declare war against Prussia and Austria. 1793, Louis XVI and Queen Maria Antoinette sentenced to death by the court for treason. 1793 to 94, this period the ruling of Robespierre is referred to as the Reign of Terror. In 1794, Robespierre was convicted by a court, arrested and on the next day sent to the Guillotine. Then in 1797, Napoleon invades Italy. Napoleonic Wars which begin. 1814, 1815, full of Napoleon, the Venanpes settlement. 1881, Greek struggle for independence begins. 1848, revolution in Europe. Artisans, industrial workers and peasants revolt against economic hardship. Middle classes demand constitutions and representatives government. Italians, Germans, Magyars, Poles, etc. demand nation states. So 1859 and 1870, unification of Italy. 1866 to 1871, unification of Germany. 1928, the right to vote was granted to all the adults in England. And children, now it's the time to write all the question answers. Read the lesson and write all the question answers in the classwork book. As soon as you finish writing your question answers, take the photo and send it to the school mail ID. Okay children, we'll meet you in the next class with a new lesson. Till then, take care children. Have a nice day.